I should have known something was wrong the moment my brother didn't rush to greet us. My name is Sharon Foster. And looking back now, I realized that the warmth in my brother's invitation was never meant for us. It was meant for appearances. For show. And I didn't understand that until the night everything unraveled. The drive from Vermont to Riverside, Connecticut took just over 4 hours. 4 long hours of winding roads, fading daylight, and a quiet excitement that slowly turned into something heavier. My husband Maverick drove with one hand on the wheel, classic rock humming softly through the speakers. Nothing loud. Nothing aggressive. Just background noise for thinking. In the back seat, our daughter Willa sat curled up with a worn copy of Anne of Green Gables, her blonde hair falling into her eyes as she read. She was 9, thoughtful, observant, the kind of child who noticed things adults tried to hide. Beside her, our son Jude bounced with barely contained excitement, asking for the 10th time if we were almost there. "Are we there yet?" he asked again, grinning. "Not yet, buddy," Maverick replied patiently, his voice calm. "Another 40 minutes. Jude sighed dramatically, then smiled again. He was thrilled to see Uncle Reed. He always was. I watched my family through the rearview mirror and felt that familiar pull in my chest, the quiet pride of knowing we didn't have much excess, but we had each other. That had always been enough. Maverick wore what he always wore, a soft chambray shirt from LL Bean, khaki pants faded from years of use, and brown leather loafers he insisted were finally broken in. His salt and pepper hair was slightly tousled from the drive, and he wore that relaxed smile people always mistook for simplicity. I knew better. I'd chosen a cream silk blouse and navy slacks, understated and classic. My grandmother's pearl earrings rested against my neck, real pearls, old ones, passed down, not flashy but meaningful. Willa wore a soft pink Ralph Lauren dress I found at an estate sale years ago. The stitching alone told a story of quality that modern clothes rarely carried. Jude wore his favorite polo shirt and pressed khakis, already wrinkled despite my best efforts. We didn't look poor, but we didn't look rich either. And in Riverside, Connecticut, that mattered. When we turned into the driveway, conversation stopped. The mansion rose in front of us like something unreal, white columns glowing under early evening light, chandeliers blazing behind tall windows, the lawn trimmed so precisely it looked painted. Luxury cars lined the circular drive, Mercedes, BMWs. Bentley parked right at the front. Jude pressed his face to the window. "Wow," he breathed. "Uncle Reed lives here?" "He rents," I corrected gently. But even as I said it, my stomach tightened. Maverick didn't say a word. His eyes narrowed slightly, not in jealousy or awe, but calculation. People thought he observed because he was a writer. They had no idea. We parked between a Tesla and a Jaguar. Our Volvo wagon, 8 years old, reliable, safe, looked like it belonged to the staff. I felt it immediately. The shift. The unspoken judgment. Inside, the party spilled across the terrace and lawn. Women in designer dresses that cost more than our grocery budget for half a year. Men in suits sharp enough to cut glass. The air smelled like champagne, expensive perfume. An entitlement. This was not a celebration. It was a performance. Willa's hand slipped into mine, her palm damp. "You look beautiful," I whispered. She squeezed my hand, but her eyes darted nervously. At the entrance, a coordinator with a clipboard intercepted us. Her smile was polished, but empty. "Names?" "Sharon Foster," I said. "This is my husband Maverick and our children." She scanned her list, paused just a beat too long, then nodded. Double quotes. "Oh, yes, the Vermont family. Right this way." "The way," she said. It made my skin prickle. We followed her through the crowd, past the raised VIP terrace, past tables glowing under warm Edison lights, past laughter that felt rehearsed. That's when I saw my brother. Reed stood at the center of it, all champagne flute in hand, laughing loudly as he introduced guests to his fiancée, Helen. He looked polished, confident, different. His eyes flicked toward us. For half a second. Recognition flashed across his face, then something else. Embarrassment. He didn't move. The coordinator kept walking, Past the main tables. Past the dance floor. Past the bar. Until we stopped near the kitchen door. Dim lighting. Cold air. Servers rushing past. Music muffled. A corner. This is your table, she said quickly, already turning away. Enjoy the party. Maverick pulled out my chair like nothing was wrong. Helped Willa sit. Then Jude. When he sat down beside me, I noticed his jaw tighten just barely. Mom, Lila whispered, why are we sitting here? It's fine, I said brightly. We can see everything from here. But we both knew. This wasn't random. This was intentional. Across the terrace. Reed laughed again, never once looking our way. Maverick leaned back, fingers tapping softly against the tablecloth. To anyone watching, he looked relaxed. I knew that. Look, he was taking notes. And Maverick Miller's notes always came with consequences. The longer we sat in that corner, the more invisible we became. Waiters passed us without eye contact. Their trays angled toward the terrace where Reed and Helen held court under golden lights. Laughter floated toward us in waves controlled. Curated. Exclusive. It felt like breathing air meant for someone else. Jude swung his legs beneath the table, still excited, still hopeful. When do we eat? He asked. I'm starving. Soon, buddy, Maverick said, ruffling his hair. His voice was light, easy, but I noticed how he'd angled his chair. From here he could see the entire party. Every table. Every interaction. The writer's eye. People like to say, if only they knew. That's when I noticed movement from the terrace. Helen was coming toward us. She moved like she'd practiced it, long strides. Shoulders back, champagne-colored dress. Catching the light like liquid gold. Every detail about her announced money. Not quiet money, loud money. The kind that wanted to be seen. She stopped at our table, smile locked in place. Sharon, she said warmly, too warmly. I'm so glad you made it all the way from Vermont. That must have been quite the journey. 4 hours, I replied evenly. Not bad at all, she laughed lightly. Oh, I could never. I can't imagine living so far from, well, everything. She tilted her head. But I suppose that's the artistic lifestyle, isn't it? Maverick's hand slipped over mine beneath the table. A quiet signal. Let her talk. I hear you work for a non-profit, Helen continued. That must be so fulfilling. The word landed wrong. Like a consolation prize. It is, I said simply. Her gaze drifted to Willa. And this must be your daughter, she said, eyes lingering on the dress. Such a sweet little vintage outfit. Very quaint. Willa smiled uncertainly. It's Ralph Lauren, I said calmly. From the 80s, back when quality still mattered. Helen's smile sharpened. Oh, absolutely, she said. Vintage can be charming. It's just that people here tend to prefer current collections, straight from the runway. But there's something admirable about making do with what you have. Making do. As if we were barely scraping by, a waiter passed the VIP section with a tray of canapes. Helen excused herself, then returned moments later, this time with guests in tow. Everyone, she said brightly, gesturing toward us. This is Sharon Reed's sister. She lives very quietly in Vermont, works for a non-profit. A very chill lifestyle, though a bit removed from our fast-paced world, wouldn't you say? Polite smiles, curious glances, quick assessments. I saw the story forming in their eyes. The sister who couldn't keep up. The family who didn't belong. The reminder of what not to be. Actually, Maverick said mildly, speaking for the first time, Sharon manages complex projects with 7-figure budgets. Non-profits require efficiency just without the emphasis on profit margins. His tone was pleasant, casual, but it landed. Helen's smile didn't waver. Of course, she said. Though I imagine the salary must be quite modest. Then she moved on. Jude tugged my sleeve. Mom, he whispered, can I get one of those snacks? Before I could answer, Helen was back crouching beside him. Oh, sweetheart, she said softly. Those might be a bit advanced for you. Foie gras and caviar take a trained palate. Jude frowned. I like trying new things. I'm sure you do, she said kindly. But I'll have the kitchen make you something friendlier. Spaghetti. Fried chicken, things you're probably used to. I stood. No, I said quietly. The children will eat with us. For the first time, her smile cracked. I was only trying to help. We don't need help, I replied. She straightened, eyes flicking to Maverick, waiting for him to soften it. He, didn single quote stiffly. The table fell silent. Across the terrace, Reed laughed again, oblivious or choosing to be. Maverick leaned toward Jude. You know something, buddy? The best food at any party is whatever makes you happy. Jude smiled, but my attention drifted to the empty chair beside me. Where's Willa? I asked. She went to the restroom, Jude said. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. My chest tightened. I stood, scanning the crowd, and then I saw her. Willa was walking back toward us, shoulders hunched, arms folded around herself. Even from across the room, I could see her eyes were red. She slid into her chair without looking up. Honey? I whispered. What happened? She shook her head. Then, barely audible, she said, Can we just go home? My heart cracked. Sweetheart, tell me. There were girls, she whispered. They laughed at my shoes. I looked down her suede flats, classic, worn but cared for. They said they were poor person's shoes, she continued, voice breaking. They asked if I got them from a donation bin. Rage flooded me. Before I could respond, heels clicked on marble. Helen appeared again. Oh dear, she said loudly. Is everything all right? Guests turned to look. We're fine, I said. Helen tilted her head. Willa looks upset. My shoes, Willa whispered. Helen glanced down, and for half a second, satisfaction flickered across her face. Oh, sweetheart, she said gently. Children here are raised differently. Their parents are leaders, philanthropists. They have standards. My hands clenched. Honestly, Helen continued, standing, I've worried about this. Your children aren't used to environments like this, living so isolated, she sighed. It causes culture shock. Then she smiled. Next time, maybe you could prepare them better. The crowd was watching. Judging. Blaming. I stood but froze. Then Maverick stood. The air changed. He didn't speak. He simply stood, and silence spread. He looked at me. Have you had enough? I nodded. We're leaving, I said. Helen smiled. Probably. For the best. Then she said it. This is my house. That's when Maverick smirked and reached for his phone. For a brief moment, no one moved. Helen's words, my house hung in the air like a challenge, like a claim carved into marble. Around us, conversation slowed, laughter faded, and curiosity sharpened into attention. People sensed it. Something had shifted. I was gathering Willa's small purse when I saw it. That look. The one I'd only seen 3 times in our marriage. Not anger, not outrage, a calm, satisfied certainty. Maverick slipped his phone from his jacket pocket with deliberate ease, as if he were checking a message, nothing more. Helen was still smiling, still basking in the false victory she believed she'd secured. Then Reed's voice cut through the murmurs. Sharon? He pushed through the crowd, face flushed, tie loosened. Confusion clouded his expression as he took in the scene. My children standing, Helen rigid with confidence, Maverick silent and still. What's going on? Reed asked. Why are you leaving already? Helen moved instantly, hand flying to her chest. Oh, honey, it's nothing, she said sweetly. Sharon just seems uncomfortable. I think the vibe isn't really her speed. Reed turned to me, guilt washing over his face. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't mean for you to feel out of place. Maybe you should take the kids back. To the hotel? You must be tired from the drive.
He believed this was his house, his party, his world. He had no idea. It's fine, Reed, I said quietly.
We'll get out of your way. No, he said quickly, glancing around. I wanted you here. Helen touched his arm, steering him away. Let them go, sweetheart. We have guests to attend to. The Castellanos were asking about the investment timeline. Reed hesitated, then allowed himself to be led back toward the lights. Maverick helped Jude into his jacket. Methodical and calm. Not yet, he said softly when I murmured his name. Helen's voice rang out again. Bright and cutting. Asterisk drive safely. And Sharon, next time, let me know if you need recommendations for children's clothing. I know some lovely boutiques that aren't too expensive. Polite laughter followed. Maverick stopped walking. Asterisk the pressure in the room changed like the air before a storm breaks. He turned slowly. Actually,
He said pleasantly, "Before we go, there's something I need to discuss with Reed." The room went silent. "Excuse me?"
Helen said sharply. Asterisk Maverick raised his voice just enough. Asterisk Reed, could you come here for a moment? It's about the house. Reed returned, bewildered. The house? He asked. What about it? Asterisk, the lease, Maverick said calmly. I wanted to give proper notice in person. Asterisk Reed blinked. Notice? Asterisk, do you remember the parent company on your lease? Maverick asked. Asterisk Reed frowned. Ironwood Holdings, I think. Why? Maverick nodded, scrolling on his phone. Read this, he said. Out loud. Reed leaned closer. His voice shook as he read. Asterisk internal directive. From V. Miller, Chairman. Approve exception for Reed Foster. Freeze rental rate indefinitely. Difference to be accounted for as charity adjustment. His face drained of color. What does this mean? Reed whispered. Asterisk. It means, Maverick said evenly, your lifestyle has been subsidized. Silence. The market rate for this house is $4,200 a month, Maverick continued. You've been paying $2,800. For 3 years. Helen froze. That's over $50,000, Maverick added.
In charity.
Helen's champagne flute slipped from her hand and shattered. You're not rich, Reed, Maverick said gently. You're a high earner trying to live beyond your means. Then he turned to Helen. Real class isn't about labels.
It's
about how you treat people when you think they can't do anything for you. He paused. You've been living on borrowed elegance. Helen couldn't speak. As chairman of Ironwood Holdings, Maverick continued, I'm exercising my right of non-renewal. Your lease ends in 30 days. Asterisk Reed's voice broke. You can't, asterisk. I can, Maverick said kindly. And I am. He reached for my hand. The crowd parted as we walked away. Asterisk outside, cool air filled my lungs. Asterisk. Daddy, Willa asked softly in the car, are we richer than Aunt Helen? Maverick smiled in the mirror. Real wealth, he said, is protecting your family without raising your voice. Asterisk, we drove into the night away from borrowed elegance towards something real.